When Sarah told me she was pregnant, I thought it was the happiest moment of my life. We'd been married 4 years, and though things have been tense lately, late nights at her office, missed dinners, short, distant conversations, I still believe we were unbreakable. I remember holding her hand, tears brimming in my eyes, whispering, "We're going to be parents." She smiled, but even then, there was something off in her expression, like a mask she couldn't quite keep in place. The pregnancy went smoothly, but our marriage didn't. Sarah became secretive, defensive, protective of her phone in ways that didn't make sense. I told myself it was hormones, stress, or the fear of motherhood. But one night, while she slept, her phone buzzed on a nightstand. The message preview read, "Can't wait to meet our baby." My heart stopped. I opened the thread, and there it was, dozens of messages from a man named Jason. They weren't just lovers. They were planning a future together, a future that included a child I thought was mine. The next morning, I confronted her. She broke instantly, sobbing, saying it just happened, that Jason didn't matter, that I was the one she wanted. But I couldn't hear her over the sound of my own heart breaking. I walked out numb, drove aimlessly for hours, and eventually stopped near the lake we used to visit when we were dating. I sat there until sunrise, realizing I couldn't raise another man's child. Not after this level of betrayal. When the baby was born, I didn't go to the hospital. I couldn't. I had already made arrangements. I quit my job, sold my car, and vanished. No calls, no messages, no trace. I moved across the country under a new name, rented a small apartment by the coast, and began working at a local mechanic shop. For months, I barely spoke to anyone. The ocean became my only companion. Every time I heard a baby cry in town, it twisted in my chest like a knife. Years passed. Piece by piece, I rebuilt myself. I learned to appreciate the quiet, to laugh at small things, to find peace in anonymity. I never dated. I never shared my story. I assumed Sarah had moved on, probably raising a child with Jason, and maybe even happy. That was fine. She had her choices. I deserved peace. Then, one rainy evening, 5 years later, the past found me. I had just closed the shop when I saw her at the entrance, drenched, pale, gripping an umbrella. For a moment, I thought I was hallucinating. "Ryan," she said softly, her voice trembling. I froze. Hearing my real name after so long felt like a punch to the gut. How did you find me?" I asked. She took a shaky breath. I never stopped looking. Her tears streamed down as she spoke. Jason had left her 2 years after the baby was born. He'd cheated too. She'd raised the boy alone, struggling, ashamed. And now she had finally told him the truth. About me, about how I had loved him before even knowing he wasn't mine. Then she said something that shattered me all over again. "He's been asking about you. He thinks you're his father." For the first time in years, I didn't know how to feel anger, pity, or that dull ache of old love refusing to die. I looked at her, worn and broken, and realized time had been cruel to both of us. "Why are you here, Sarah?" I asked quietly. She stepped closer. "I can't undo what I did, but he deserves to meet the man who loved him before he was even born." The rain fell harder. I turned away, staring at the ground, my mind spinning. Part of me wanted to scream at her to leave. Another part, the part that had once dreamed of fatherhood, wondered if maybe this was fate's cruel way of giving me a second chance. After a long pause, I finally said, Tell him, I said, "Hi." She cried harder, whispering, "He looks just like you when he smiles." I didn't know if it was true or just something to ease her guilt, but for the first time, I let myself cry too. That night, after she left, I sat in my apartment staring at an old photo of us tucked away in a drawer. I realized something. Running had healed me, but facing her had freed me. I didn't know if I'd ever meet the boy. But deep down, I knew I wasn't that broken man by the lake anymore. I had disappeared once, but maybe now it was time to start truly living.